Welcome to another 21 Hats Dashboard. Most Mondays, Gene Marks and I talk about the issues we think business owners should be monitoring this week. But today, I have a special guest, John Arensmeyer, who is founder and CEO of Small Business Majority, an organization that advocates on behalf of entrepreneurs. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Loren. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. John, I especially wanted to talk to you today because I was hoping we would have a final word on the Biden administration's Build Back Better bill. But as we tape this late on Friday, I gather that's not likely to happen imminently. What do you know at this point?
We have a new definition here for the word frustration. We only really know, we've been in contact with people in the White House and on the Hill, but we were told yesterday we'd have a bill, and it hasn't happened yet. So we're now being told early next week. I can't tell you for sure if that's going to happen or not. A lot of false starts here.
We thought there were some reasons to think that there was a deadline they were going to take seriously, that they had to get it done this week, but now that's gone, and who knows how long it could take. But let's talk about it from this perspective. John, you're there in D.C. I know you've been following this closely. What's at stake for business owners in, the whatever form this ultimately takes?
Well, Loren, there's a lot in this framework, the latest framework, and even in the original framework, that is good for small business. For the most part, this bill, the so-called reconciliation bill or human infrastructure bill, addresses issues that will enable small businesses to have kind of a sort of a social infrastructure that sits underneath them and enables them to be freer financially to start and run businesses. So for example, healthcare. It does appear in this latest framework there's going to be an extension of the ACA premium tax credits. That makes healthcare that much more affordable. Right now, over half of the participants in the healthcare exchanges are small business owners, employees, or independent entrepreneurs. So that's good. There's going to be money in there to allow people in states that did not expand Medicaid to buy into the exchange, and that actually covers a lot of small business employees who are caught in between the old Medicaid and what the ACA networks cover. So that's good. There's a child care tax credit. It looks like that's going to be continued. That's very helpful for working parents, particularly mothers who may be running businesses or maybe working at small businesses that don't offer child care. It also supports the childcare industry, which is by and large made up of very small businesses run by women, by people of color, by immigrants. So they're struggling with just running their businesses these days. There's expanded money for the Earned Income Tax Credit, which again helps independent entrepreneurs who may not have that much income, and it also supplements the income of employees of small businesses. So that's all good. And it kind of falls under the category of things in our economy. I hate to use the word safety net, but it's basically kind of a human infrastructure in our economy that enables people who are running and working for small businesses to be freer to pursue their economic goals.
Interesting. Are there things that may be in the bill at this point that you're not as feeling as positive about? Things you're concerned about?
Well, there are two things that are not in the bill that we're concerned about. That was exactly what you asked for. Let me just put this out there. I'll be very quick.
Please, sure.
Prescription drug pricing, it's outrageous. 80% of the American public supports action on prescription drugs, particularly allowing Medicare to negotiate prices. Small business owners and small businesses are continuing to be hit with high healthcare costs. And, yes, the subsidies in the ACA exchanges are great, but in fact, we have too much cost in the overall system. So that's too bad. And the other major thing that's not in there that is concerning to us is support for paid leave. This was an opportunity for the government to come in, do what every other industrial democracy does, and provide support for paid leave for employees that small business owners can't afford to provide themselves. And it levels the playing field between very small businesses and large businesses. And for some reason, that is not in there. We understand that Senator Manchin did not want that in there. I don't really understand the reasons why. So those are two things in there that we don't, that we're sorry are not in there. There isn't really anything in here that is a problem for small business. I mean, quite frankly, it's the government stepping in as we come out of a pandemic to provide support across the entire economy, and a lot of that's going to benefit small business.
One of the ways that it raises revenue is with a corporate minimum tax. If this stays in the bill, if the bill stays the way we've been hearing about it of late, does that have any impact on small businesses?
Our understanding of the way that's written is that it's the tax is on profits over $1 billion, the 15% minimum. So that's really set up for large public companies that are basically showing tax profits that are different from their book profits, which we understand is that's what happens. And I think what Congress is saying is that we need to at least have some level of tax coming from those companies. That obviously doesn't affect small business. There are other provisions in the framework, as we understand it, that are on people making, millions of dollars. They're not on average small business. The surtax on the wealthiest Americans, as for those with income over $10 million. Yes, there are a few technically small business owners making that, but it's really not, and by the way, there's an additional surtax on income over 25 million. But this by and large does not affect the vast majority of business owners in the country. There's a bunch of provisions around international tax, a 15% minimum tax on foreign profits. Again, not likely to affect very many small businesses. This is and then.
Why is that, John? Is it because is there some minimum level of revenue, or is it because you're saying that not that many small businesses do business internationally?
Mostly the latter. But in fact, a whole vast number of countries agreed to this 15% tax, equalization across countries. What's happening now is that people are parking profits in countries with very low tax rates, like Ireland, and it's not even really that the money's even there. It's just it's a sleight of hand. It's a sleight of accounting hand. Something, by the way, that most small businesses don't have the capability to do. And this is essentially saying, look, if you're earning money abroad, you can't hide it in a country that's got a very low tax rate, and there's going to be a minimum tax on foreign profits. So again, for the vast majority of business owners that we deal with, and small business owners in this country, that there's really virtually no effect of that.
One piece I read about the latest version of the bill said something about there being a tax aimed at quote unquote wealthy business owners who have a pass-through business structure. It didn't explain what they meant by that. Do you know what they mean by quote unquote wealthy business owners that they want to target?
I think it's the surtax. There's nothing, as our understanding is, there's nothing in here now that's specifically about pass-through versus not pass-through. It's a surtax on income over $10 million and a greater surtax on income over $25 million. Yes, that could be income from pass-through, absolutely. But it's not a specific pass-through provision per se.
And it was the wording in the piece that I read, and maybe it was just wrong, and there's no reason you need to explain this if you don't know. But it seemed odd that it was specifically saying business owners as opposed to just targeting a specific level of income. Do you know anything about that?
It may be, I didn't read the article, it may be that the author of the article was trying to say, look, this is going to impact some business owners that have pass-through income, which is undoubtedly true.
Fair enough.
But it's, the percentage of business owners with pass-through income over $10 million is, a minuscule portion of 1%. So, but yes, in fact, I'm sure some of that income will be pass-through income from business owners, yes.
One other thing that I saw referenced was there is going to be additional funds to step up IRS enforcement. Is that something you think business owners should be concerned about?
Well, I think, look, it's a natural concern to be, when you're hearing, the IRS is going to step up enforcement. And I think that, I understand where people might, be nervous. The intention is, I understand it, and that's quite frankly where the money is in very large corporations or very, very wealthy people who, the studies show there's a certain amount of that's not being paid, and you have, I think it's on a annual basis, you've got billions of dollars that are not being collected. So if the IRS is going to seek to gather more money, they're going to be looking at very large corporations and at very wealthy individuals. And I would say that, with small business owners, should be careful about paying the taxes. It's kind of hard to argue that you don't want there to be enforcement of the tax laws. So yes, we understand that. Obviously there may be some heightened concern, but in fact, the intention and hopefully the result of this will be to collect additional tax from very large corporations and very wealthy people, not your typical small business owner.
All right. Well, you've already said that, we're beyond frustration here and nobody can really know where this goes. But do you have a gut feeling about this? Do you think it's going to get passed?
I think it's going to get passed in some form. And I can only assume it will be somewhat close to what was in the framework. It's hard to believe that they got that far out front, and it's going to radically change. But, so yes, I think something will pass. I think it'll be close to what we've seen, but I obviously can't say for sure.
All right. My special guest today, John Arensmeyer, is founder and CEO of Small Business Majority, a small business advocacy group. You can learn more at smallbusinessmajority.org. Thank you, John. Always great speaking with you.
Thank you, Loren. Great to be on your show.
Appreciate it. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us.